What's up, owls? Coming to you from underneath my favorite tree in our yard. It's our crabapple tree. This crabapple tree is humongous. This crabapple tree provides us with a lot of shade. This crabapple tree provides the bees with a lot of food right away in the springtime because in a couple of days, maybe next week sometime, it's going to blossom. And this tree is just going to be humming with bees. So we have the reason I'm reading to you from underneath a tree again is because we've been talking a lot about trees and how we depend on trees, and we definitely do. I mean, if we didn't have trees, there wouldn't be a whole lot of life on this earth because our trees provide us with oxygen, they provide us with food, they provide animals with shelter, so many things. But today we're going to bring something new in. Now, before, you probably heard about what a noun is. A noun is a type of word that is a person, place, thing, or idea. Now, if I were to say the word tree, that would be a noun because a tree is a thing. If I were to say Disney World, that would be a noun because Disney World is a place. Remember? Person, place, thing, or idea. Today we're going to talk about a new type of word, and you may have heard it before, and that's okay. We're going to be talking about an adjective. Now, if you're at your computer, say that word, adjective. Adjective is written right here. That's how we spell it, adjective. Now, adjective is another type of word that we use, okay? Whereas nouns are person, place, things, or ideas, an adjective is a describing word. It's a word used to tell other people about what something is like or what something that I'm doing is like. So we use adjectives to describe nouns. We also use adjectives to describe how we are doing something. So, some examples of adjectives I have written down here. We have safe, cool, hot, smelly, goofy. I'm going to use one of these adjectives in a sentence here really quick to show you how it's used. Okay? All these words, though, are describing words. All right? We use these to describe what things are like whether something is safe, whether something is cool, whether it's hot, whether it's smelly, doesn't smell good, or whether something is goofy, so it's funny. All right? So here, look, I've underlined the adjective in my sentence here. I depend on trees to keep me cool. All right? Cool, describing me, okay, to keep me cool, right? So cool describes me. When I get under a shady tree, I become cool. I cool myself off, especially in the summertime. Not today, I'm already cool because it's kind of cold out. I can actually see my breath. Another one, birds depend on trees to keep them safe. Safe being the adjective. This adjective describes birds because birds are safe when they're with trees. All right? Birds depend on trees to keep them safe. Got it? Other sentences I could say is the boy ran through the cow yard and he was smelly afterwards. All right, smelly describing the boy because he ran through the cow yard and he got full of poop. The lamb's fur was very soft. Soft describing the lamb's fur. That's an adjective. Soft is an adjective. So today we're going to read this book, and after, I'm going to give you an assignment. It's going to be another drawing and writing a sentence, and you guys are going to get a chance to use an adjective. All right? So we're going to read a few pages in this book. We're going to talk about it, and I'm going to give you your assignment. So you guys have been reading this book, Be a Friend to Trees. We're going to read pages 18 to 32 today. Many animals make their homes in trees. Birds roost in trees. They build nests and raise their young in trees. Squirrels nest in trees. Monkeys live in trees. Some tree frogs spend their whole lives in trees without ever coming down. Honeybees make hives in tree hollows. Many other insects also live in trees. So do small creatures such as spiders. Deer find shelter beneath the trees of forests and woodlands. They find safe places to hide their young. The roots of trees hold soil in place. They keep it from washing away in heavy rains or floods of water from melting snow. When soil is held in place, water sinks into it and is stored in the ground. Many people depend on water that is stored underground. They draw it to the surface through wells. We actually have a well. I'm going to show it to you. It's right over there. Right behind the pole there. That's our water well. Now, most of you live in the city and you get city water, so you don't have a well in your yard. But I live out in the country, and we actually have to drill. Somebody had to come out and drill like a hole that's almost like 100 to 200 feet deep just to get down to where the water is, and then we could pump that water up, and that provides water to our house. Trees do something else that is very important. It has to do with the air we breathe. Air is made of gases. One of them is oxygen. It is the gas that our bodies need. It is the gas that all animals need. Each time we breathe, we take oxygen out of the air, but the supply is never used up. The reason is that trees and other green plants keep putting oxygen into the air. They give off oxygen as they make our food. Now, this next page that I'm going to read has a lot of adjectives in it, so we're going to talk about that after I read it. Trees make food in their leaves. The leaves can be broad, like the ones you see on a maple tree. They can be narrow and pointed, like the needle-shaped leaves you see on a fir or pine tree. All these green leaves do the same work. They make food for trees. Now, I bet if you are listening and you know what an adjective is by now, you probably picked out a couple of adjectives. They were describing words that helped us describe what the leaves are like. So I'll read this first or the second sentence again. The leaves can be broad, like the ones you see on the maple tree. That's the second sentence in here. The leaves can be broad, like the ones you see on a maple tree. The word in that sentence that's an adjective is broad. Broad describes the leaves. So broad is something where it's wide and big. That's broad, all right? That's a describing word. The next sentence says they can be narrow and pointed, like the needle-shaped leaves you see on a fir or pine tree. Two adjectives in there are narrow and pointed. They describe the needle-shaped leaves you see on a fir or pine tree. Narrow being the opposite of broad, so broad, narrow, okay, and pointed. So that describes the needles that you see on a fir tree. A fir tree is like a pine tree. We'll go on. To make food, leaves use water, which they take from the ground. They use a gas called carbon dioxide, which they take from the air. They use sunlight as energy. With energy from the sun, green leaves put the water and carbon dioxide together. They make a kind of sugar. The making of food by plants is called photosynthesis. I'm going to say that word again. Photosynthesis. It's the making of food by plants. A word that means putting together with light. So they take light into their leaves, they photosynthesize that sunlight and make sugars out of it, and it makes food for the plant. Trees need food just to stay alive. They also need food for growth, to make new wood, leaves, twigs, fruits, and nuts. Some of the tree's food is used right away. Some is stored for future use. While making food, leaves also make oxygen that they don't need. They get rid of it by putting it into the air. So there you kind of see a diagram on this page. So we have carbon dioxide going into the leaf. We have water going up the stem and into the leaf. And we have sunlight also going into the leaf. So these leaves, they soak up sunlight. And out of that, we get oxygen that goes into our air, and we breathe it. And so do other animals. They breathe it. Very, very important. Much of the oxygen that people and animals need comes from trees. Without them, we might not be here at all. So trees are more than nice. They're something we can't live without, and that is why everyone should be a friend to trees. how to be a friend to trees. There are lots of things you can do to be a friend to trees. Here are a few. See how many more you can think of. Using less paper is a great way to save trees. If you can, use a rag or a sponge or a dish towel instead of a paper towel. Take along a paper bag when you go to the market. Most bags can be used over again. I shouldn't say never. Most bags can be used over again. No one needs new bags every time. Better yet, take your own net or canvas bag to the market. Then you won't need the store's bags at all. If you buy something small and don't need a bag, say, "No thanks." Do you usually write on only one side of a piece of paper? Don't throw it out. Use the other side for scrap paper. This is something we do at school a lot. Recycling paper is another way to be a friend. When paper is recycled, it is shredded, mashed, washed, and made into paper again. Then we need less paper, and that means fewer trees must be cut. Suppose all the people in the United States recycled their Sunday newspaper. That would save 500,000 trees. That's 5 with 5 zeros behind it. Does your family recycle? Do you help? Some ways we can help save trees. You guys can help save trees. And then there is something else you can do. If you have a chance, help plant a tree. Cool, huh? Trees. We depend on them so much. What I want you to do today is I want you to find one way that we depend on trees, and I want you to draw a picture of that. So I'm going to draw a picture here quickly with my sentence. All right. And in your sentence, I want you to use an adjective. Okay, so here's how I want your sentences to look. All right. So on here, I'm drawing a picture of me standing underneath a tree. And the tree is blocking me from the sun. My son kind of looks like a spider, I'm sorry. And I wrote the sentence, I depend on trees to keep me cool. So you can use this sentence starter here. I depend on trees to keep me, and fill in this word right here with an adjective. You might say, I depend on trees to keep me safe, and draw a picture of the wood that we use to build our homes. You might draw a picture of you picking fruit. And you might say, I depend on trees to keep me fed. Fed being the adjective in your sentence, okay? So just one sentence today using an adjective or a describing word, and you can use this sentence starter right here. Remember, at the end of our sentence, we put a period. At the beginning of the sentence, we use a capital letter, okay? So we always capitalize that I no matter where it is, but always the first letter of our sentence is capitalized, okay? I depend on trees to keep me. You fill it in and then draw a picture. Or you can video yourself talking about your tree and saying the sentence, or you can take a picture of your tree, however you want to submit it. But I want to see a sentence there to go along with it, okay? Owls, you guys have a great day. I hope the weather gets nicer today so that we can get outside, but you should get outside anyways because it's not even raining. So we'll see you later. Have a great one.